Welcome in the ring. Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. And we hope you guys have had a good day, that you guys have had a great week, whatever you spent your time doing. It was our privilege being here with you throughout the week. We were here since Monday, folks. We out here since Monday. And I'm so happy you're joining us this evening again. We want to give you guys some time to share the live stream. Our folks on Twitter, we want to give you guys some time to retweet. Our folks on YouTube, we want to give you some time to subscribe. Those of you who are joining us on Facebook, we want to give you guys some time to share. And folks, that is precisely what I have to do as well. I am doing what I'm asking you to do as well. I'm sharing the live stream a couple places, and then we are going to be right with you getting things started. Just a few minutes, folks. Let me share around this a couple groups, and then I'm going to be right with you guys. I need to share it too. We got to share it around. So take this time as we come on and we share it around. I'm sharing and I invite you guys to do the same. But somehow, like, my sharing taking a little longer than the sharing at your end. I'm still loading here, folks. Still loading up. All right, I seem to have it better now. So I'm gonna be sharing as well. And again, I invite you guys to do the same. If you are joining me via Facebook, share to your pages, share to your profiles. I will be so grateful for that. We want to make sure that we are, as many persons as possible, are receiving the information that we are sharing. And it's a little slower tonight for some reason. And I'm just holding, folks. I'm in a holding pattern. And so I'm going to ask, all right, let me see if I can do it now. We're going to share some of this. All right, so I'm sharing it one place, and I'm waiting for that to go through. Folks, we're going to start. Just, you have no fear. I am set and ready to go, saving except having to wait for this stuff to load, share it. So I invite you guys to like and share, retweet. If you're joining us on Facebook, retweet if you're joining us on Twitter, rather. Share if you're joining us on Facebook. Subscribe if you're joining us on YouTube. You can make your comments anywhere on my Facebook account, on YouTube account. We're going to pick up all of those comments. And we're sharing, guys. We're sharing. I'm sharing, and I am inviting you guys to do the same. I am sharing. All right. So good to have some of you. So good to have some of you. I know some of you have come here because you're all fast. You all want to know who or what in the hot topics this evening. You all want to know who we're not saying good night to this evening. How fast. And then you all want to know what we're discussing up close or close up. No, you're all fast. I'm not asking. I'm telling you, y'all are fast. So while our operator does his thing, getting us on some other pages, like the AppNew AFC page, like the AFC page, and some of the profiles, we are going to do our thing at this end. Folks, are you ready? A good night to each and every one of you. And I hope you guys are great. Of course, I'm waiting to see us hit a particular magic number, and we're going to start. Folks, you see, I always come ready to work for you guys. Ready to work. I got to make sure I'm looking sharp. I'm dealing with credible and valid people. And so I have to look the part as well. See that? Wore back my cream jacket that I wore during the week, or you might see cream or khaki. Got on my nice tie here, my blue striped tie, and my blue shirt, just for you folks. Just for you folks out there. I'm waiting for us to hit a magic number, and then we are going to start, guys. I am so happy to have all of you. We got quite a few things to discuss this evening, and I hope that you guys stay with me. I hope that you guys stay with us. So we are holding for you folks. All right, let me see what is happening at this end here. Always got some challenges. Holding for you guys, holding for you guys. We're waiting to hit some particular numbers. Holding for you guys. We know some people fall short, and we're giving consideration to y'all. We know some for sure. All right, I'm seeing us creeping up to the number that I'm looking for. And as we wait, I'm going to say a good evening to so many people who are joining us. Marcia Griffith, I see you out there. Rachel Glasgow and Alison Pearson. I expect to see you guys sharing this live stream. You know, Marilyn Van Veen, good to see you. Marilyn usually joins me on Twitter as well. Good to see you, Marilyn Van Veen. Good to see you, Nora Jones. I hope we got a share from you, George Goodluck and Sandra Facey. Oren Baker, good to see you there. Pamela Thomas and Errol Pratt, Verita Garraway, good to see each and every one of you, and I'm thanking you guys for a share. George Goodluck is joining us from Texas, from Houston, Texas. Houston, we have a problem. Yes, George Goodluck, good night to you and all the folks there in Houston, Texas. Sandra Facey, good night to you. Pamela Thomas, all you guys. Denise McKenzie and Winston Grenada. Or Grenada, depends on which school you went to. Colette Bailey, good to see each and every one of you guys. We have such a program planned for you. Nora Jones, good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Desiree Simon, Desiree Liverpool, Gavin Liverpool, we see you too. And we see Atala Alisa Wade Duncan. My wife and my son watching. This is a family business, you know. Good night to you folks. Good night to Auntie Sandra. Good night to Auntie Sandra up there in Diamond. Good night to Auntie Sandra. Good to see you guys. Good to see each and every one of you. We're almost at the number that I'm looking for. We're almost at the number I'm looking for. Peoples. Almost at that number. As soon as we hit it, it's time for business. It is time for us to get to work. Paramdai Harichan, good to see you there. Paramdai Harichan, good to see you there, folks. Good to see each and every one of you. Fitz Gulliver, good to see Fitz joining us from New York. Fitz, I wish I was where you are. I could use a change of scenery, but I'm taking in the ring with me wherever I go. So don't think, folks, you're escaping. Viola Bless, good to see you. And Maud Oliver, Mike Adams, good evening to each and every one of you. Joseph Chilcott, good to see you. Lorraine, what is Lorraine's surname? Johansson, good to see you as well. Sharon Griffith. And I see also one of my colleagues, Diane Chapman Wong, the Right Honorable Diane Chapman Wong. Folks, a good night to each and every one of you. Are you guys ready? Round one. And some of y'all really like some bacchanal story. Chinese people love drama. If there is one thing I know, it is that we love drummers. All right, let's see what's happening here. All right, guys, are you ready? So we know about this story from during the week because we did talk about some gifts that were being alleged to have been given to Mr. David Patterson. Alleged, I use the word alleged. Some gifts were said to have been given to former Minister of Public Infrastructure, Mr. David Patterson. Right? Alleged to have been given to the former Minister of Public Infrastructure, what we called Bangate. They said they give Mr. Patterson a gold band. We called it Bangate because he said he has never received such a gold band from the ministry, from the asphalt plant, through the Harbor Bridge. He has never received such a gold band. And it was also said that he also said, rather, that there were standard procedures from which gifts were given by the ministries to, for instance, ministers, etc. And he has disclaimed that. That is one of the things that we covered during the week. Folks, I'm not going to tell you who is making these allegations. I am not going to call any names, right? I'm not. You cannot get me to call any names who making these allegations, right? But somebody is making allegations that former Minister David Patterson received gifts to the tune of millions of dollars from the ministry. He who shall not be named. I will only say, folks, that many shall say, Lord, Lord, on that great and terrible day of judgment. And he will say, depart from me, I never knew you. That is what he shall say. Depart from me, I never knew you. So I will not discuss the individual who is making these allegations against the former Minister of Public Infrastructure. He who shall not be named. But you know the man, I know the man, and we all know the man. I will not. In that same tenor of gift giving, former Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General Anil Nandlall, while he was Minister and the Attorney General in a different iteration of the PPPC government, received a number of law books. And Nandlall would have said that the law books were a gift. Nandlall said the law books were a gift. That is what he said. He said the law books were a gift from the government. Yep, that is what the minister said. And let me quote part of the story where that is concerned, because we like to give you guys credible information here. He said that the books were purchased by the government and were worth $2 million. They were a gift to him and formed part of his contractual agreement to serve the Donald Ramotar administration. So Anil Nandlall received $2 million in law books as a gift. As a gift. And while some persons are being forced currently, to give back their gifts, right? They're being forced to give back their gifts. The former Attorney General is adamant he will not be giving back any gifts. He is very
Those
adamant
books
he
are
will not
my
give back any
property,
gifts.
and I am not going to give up my property. Those books are my property, and I am not going to give up my property. Those books are my property, and I am not going to give up my property. Those books are my property, and I am not going to give up my property. Those books are my property, and I am not going to give up my property. Those books are my property, and I am not going to give up my property. Those books are
Folks,
my
there you have
property,
it.
and I am not.
There you have it. He said the books are his property. The books that were a gift for $2 million of taxpayers' money. $2 million of taxpayers' money. He says that they were a gift. They are his property, and he is not giving up his property. That is what the man said. And if that is what he said, what can I say? The books were his property, and he is not giving up his property. You heard it. I played it several times, right? We didn't make a mistake here. We played it several times. He said the books are his property, and he is not. He was adamant. He is not giving up his property. You heard it. But the story gets even better. The story gets even better, folks, because you know why? It's the PPP we're dealing with. And once we're dealing with the PPP, we're going to always get drama session. We're going to always get a lot of drama, a lot of session, because it is the PPP we are dealing with. And because it's the PPP we are dealing with, the PPP has their own gift problems. Because in 2011, the Auditor General flagged the PPP administration for the way in which they themselves were dealing with gifts. This was the Auditor General in 2010. The Auditor General's report of 2010. And in his report, the Auditor General says the continued lack of reporting and accounting for all gifts to ministries, departments, and regions resulted in the miscellaneous receipts of $14.5 billion as at the 31st of December 2010, being understated by an undetermined amount. $14 billion in gifts. And that was just 1 year. The Auditor General report of 2006, 2009, 2011, 12, 13, all have understated and undetermined amounts of gift in the tune of millions and billions of dollars that were not accounted for under the PPPC administration, folks. Right? And so you heard there the Attorney General saying that he is not giving up his gift. He said the books are his to the value of over 2 million Guyana dollars. The books are his, and he is not giving up his books. The books are his, and he is not giving up his books. The Alliance for Change released a press statement this evening on the issue pertaining to the witch hunt of our General Secretary, David Patterson, by those who shall remain unnamed. Part of that statement, ladies and gentlemen, reads, the Alliance for Change condemns in the harshest terms the latest political attacks on Mr. David Patterson, the General Secretary of the party, and the immediate former Minister of Public Infrastructure by the fraudulent People's Progressive Party administration. I'm certain you're going to see more of that in the news. Moving on, folks. We now turn our attention to the PPP who like to thief projects. The 𝗁𝗏 to Diamond Bypass was a project that was conceptualized by the 𝗪𝗵cie government. The feasibility studies were done and the project was started. And yet, we see the PPP stealing this project wholesale, as though after 6 months in office, or rather just after 5 months in office, they have done the feasibility studies, they have tendered for the feasibility studies, they have tendered for the contractors, they have budgeted for this 𝗁𝗏 to Diamond Bypass Road, and the road is now being built. What they are not telling us is that this was an 𝗪𝗵cie project. This was a project complements, folks, of 𝗪𝗵cie. And I know some of you don't want to hear it, but you'll have to put it in your pipe and smoke it. Nonetheless, the only difference here is that the PPPC's fraudulent administration has now very, very seriously scaled back on this project. So what was envisioned as a 4-lane highway from 𝗁𝗏 to Diamond now looks like a back street road. And those are supposed to be drains running at the side there. So wherein we wanted to build a very modern highway linking 𝗁𝗏 to the East Bank, and hence relieving that traffic congestion on the East Bank. The PPP has now come in and scaled back the project, and yet claiming it as their own. Folks, can you believe these people? How can they be believed when they have now come and they even thieving projects? $2 million in law books was not enough. You now got to come and thief other people's projects. Why can't you come and say, you know, the 𝗪𝗵cie would have done something wonderful, and this is one of the initiatives we would like to carry forward? Why can't we have an honest interlocutor in the People's Progressive Party civic administration? You know why? Because they are fraudulent. And that is why everything you do is going to have that tinge of fraud. Everything they do is going to have that tinge of fraud attached to it, because that is who they are. They are a fraudulent, illegal government. Right? And we have to protest them at every turn. We have to protest them at every turn. Talking about protests, ladies and gentlemen. Auntie Sarah left yet? I'm asking for myself. Has Auntie Sarah left as yet? That's all I want to know. Anybody see Sarah recently? Has anybody seen my old friend Sarah recently? Folks, I'm telling you, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. And don't worry with anybody else. Protest is a constitutional right of every citizen. Of every citizen. And to protest, I sat right there. To protest, ladies and gentlemen, I sat right there. Anybody see Auntie Sarah? Asking for myself. A good night to all, except. A good night to all, except. Folks, of course, you know I love to see your comments. And so I'm going to focus on some of your comments. I want to see who you believe that we're focusing on this evening. I have my guests to bring up close this evening. I can see them in the green room waiting backstage to come on. And I don't want to keep them waiting for too long. Good night to all, except. A good night to all, except. And I ain't going to keep you all waiting by any means. Right? Because I know some of you are not going to get it. Because I didn't give too much clues at the beginning. A good night to all, except. Some of y'all fast, some of y'all like, is who? Anybody know this fella? Anybody know this fella? If he was handsome, we'd have a photograph to that extent. This is 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵. This is the Deputy Commissioner at the Guyana Forestry Commission, 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵, and he is head of the Forest Monitoring Division. Now, 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵 has been causing a lot of difficulties at the Forestry Commission. One, because he has had the Commissioner of the Forestry Commission demoted, and he's angling for that position. They are witch hunting, and then a lot of staff are complaining that suddenly they are being flung into all kinds of far-flung areas of the country to work. All kinds of far-flung areas of the country to work. And I just want to quote part of a statement that came out just today, leveling accusations against Mr. 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵. Persons say that when they inquire about why they're being sent to all these far-flung places, and mind you, these persons are of one ethnic extract. They are being told by the acting Deputy Commissioner, Mr. 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵, that he don't care, right? And if they want, they could resign. Yeah, Mr. 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵. Allegations are that the now acting Deputy Commissioner for the Forestry Monitoring Division, same Mr. 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵, is well known for his racist and petty policies against Afro-Guyanese staff and women who refuse his sexual advances. These are allegations that are being leveled against Mr. 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵. Now, I invite Mr. 𝗪𝗪 𝗧𝗵𝗵 to step into the ring any evening, because clarity needs to be brought to these matters. A lot of clarity needs to be brought to these matters. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome my guest, the one and only Member of Parliament, Mr. Guyana 𝗪𝗵. Ganesh, let's pick up on the 𝗪𝗪 bit at the Guyana Forestry Commission.
Good night, Sherrod. Thanks for having me in the ring again. I'm becoming too popular in this ring now, you know.
You are either a prize fighter or the referee. I see you as a prize fighter, sir. Pound for pound.
Thank you. I said earlier on a program we had on the APNU AFC page that we need to stand together in unity so that we can sing from the same hymn book. And we need to deal with these matters when they are in their embryonic stage. Right now, and I want to tell you something, and your listeners should, and your viewers, they should be aware that almost every day, if not every day, you have somebody that you're saying good night to, except. And it goes to show that every day there is somebody that is taking center stage in causing turmoil in the lives of our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Every day that passes, the PPP has somebody that is aligned to them, that is doing something that is unorthodox, that is not in keeping with good practice, and it is not in keeping with good principles. And that has to be recognized and taken as serious as it should be. We cannot, as a country who came this far, to allow these kind of people to infiltrate our system and create division. And I want to tell the people from the Guyana Forestry Commission that they need to stand together against the dictatorial rulership that is given to them. And of course, you and I both know that should they request our support and should they request our presence to also join with them and to rally for a change for the better, we are there. That is why we are here. But whenever you have a country where the opposition has to take center stage, where the opposition has to start calling out people for what they are doing, where the opposition has to stand strong and basically represent the citizens, it means that you as a government, you are failing, and you're failing miserably. You are giving us ammunitions, you are giving us reasons to call you out, and it shows how weak you are. It shows what is your intention and what really you have at the back of your head, to sow division, to basically divide our people. We are a country of 6 people, and we should all live as one, because our motto is one people, one nation, and one destiny. So as I said earlier, we are accustomed to the pointer broom, and you can take one pointer and you can break it up into pieces, but you cannot break up an entire broom. And that's because the pointers, they come together and they bond themselves as one, and they serve the right purpose. And I am saying to the people from the Guyana Forestry Commission, the staff there, and across the country in all the other areas, we have 𝗂𝗪 brother behaving as though he's king of all kings at the Guyana Commission. We have various ministries where the permanent secretary are taking political instruction to fire people of one ethnicity, where they're trying, if they can't fire you, they're trying to demonize you, transfer you, remove you, put you in places of uncomfortableness. We have to stand up. It's about time. We need to take the bull.
On that note, I'm happy you talk about them putting people in a position to be uncomfortable in an effort to really truly move them out of the way, right? Because in this report that is coming out says that the victimization seemed clear when the GFC transferred a female employee of Afro descent holding a master's degree to an outstation, which is a first in the history of GFC, while persons, even males of Indo descent holding similar qualifications, are kept at the head office.
That is
number
so
of allegations being leveled against the GFC.
And you know, it is very unfortunate that we are sitting, and when I say we, I mean the people who are affected and even those who are from other entities. We are sitting and allowing this to happen. We cannot allow the PPP to start separating us entity by entity. If we do that, then they will separate us one by one and destroy this country. So not because it is happening in the Forestry Commission means that the people from GGMC can't stand up, means that the people from Guy Oil can't stand up, means the people from Teaching Service Commission can't stand up. Because if these people are going to tackle this issue by just isolating one by one, and when they finish with one, they go to the other, you can be the next one. You can be the very, very next one in line. So stand up for your brothers and sisters in the other commission and the other entities, so that we can all send the message that as soon as you try to do this, we are going to clip it in its embryonic stage. We're going to clip it when it is just a small issue. We must not allow the issue to grow as a monster. Yes, if we allow this issue to grow as a monster, it will be difficult to control. And we have to start stepping up to the plate. The young people of today's society, you and I will know We are not here to go with the ride, or we are not here to just toe the line. We are here to challenge the difficulties that we face, and we are here to put the political parties on guard. We are here to let them know that we want to stand strong for what we believe in, and that we shall do.
Fantastic. Let us welcome our parliamentary colleague, 𝗁𝗂 𝗪𝗏, the Honorable. 𝗁𝗂, we were just discussing the situation at the Guyana Forestry Commission, where Mr. Tashrif Khan seemed to be another little dictator like 𝗪𝗪𝗪, and the staff complaining terribly of his attitude and his general professional conduct, or the lack thereof.
You know, Sherrod, this is something that has been going on. We've been trying to point out all the cases in which it has been happening. And actually, I was only going through a report sometime today where a lot of similar things were cited. I'm actually scrolling through my phone to see if I can pull it up really quickly. Probably a little later on, but I'll just make reference to it. It's strange enough that Mr. 𝗏𝗏 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏 would have done a very in-depth piece on the racial politics that plays out in Guyana, and I believe that that writing was done in 2010. And I can tell you, every single thing that you see the PPP is doing right now, Mr. 𝗪𝗧𝗵𝗏 would have spoken about in those times. It's strange that Mr. 𝗪𝗧𝗵𝗏 isn't writing about them anymore. I can say that he suddenly lost his desire to call out the PPP on these matters. And what I can say is that we cannot give up this fight at all. Every day it's getting worse. We're speaking about it, and yet it continues all the time. I believe it has gone to a point that we have exhausted the battle locally and the fight and the struggle to make persons aware of what is going on. And it's time that we take this to an international level, because persons' basic rights are being violated in these manners. We have ministers in government empowering persons with the direct and specific mandate to do cleansing, ethnic cleansing in so many various ministries, different departments, and it is brutal. The coalition went into office in 2015 and there was no such thing. And today you see the PPP not wanting to lose breath, going forward aggressively just to continue where they had left off before. It will not be accepted. We have come a long way in the 5 years, and we cannot allow the PPP to take us back into that state that Guyanese was so desperately and eagerly ready to let go of. Mr. Duncan. Sure, you're muted.
I was saying fantastic. Ganesh and 𝗁𝗂, why is the PPP thieving up new AFC projects? They know they can't handle big projects. You had the Wales estate, you had Skeldon, you had the Amila Falls, you had the fiber optic cable. They know they can't handle big projects. Now they come and barefacedly trying to thieve the Diamond to Ogle bypass road or road link.
Sure, the PPP, and I think Barry said it best today with 12 o'clock with Chris. The PPP is visionless. I believe that's what your exact words, Mr. 𝗪𝗏𝗏. The PPP is visionless, and all Guyanese, all right-thinking Guyanese, do not be naive. Nobody could be naive. Remember, persons just need to look back at where we came from in terms of infrastructure as a country and where we are today. The PPP complained about so many things being done, and the Ministry of Public Infrastructure did a phenomenal job. Mr. David Patterson and his team did a phenomenal job throughout the length and breadth of this country. The PPP was so ridiculous that they even condemned the overhead bypass, but for pedestrians to cross over safely. And we would have known that would have been in very high use by school children and persons. And we did have some accidents sadly after with persons that did not utilize those infrastructure. But The coalition had a vision when it comes to infrastructure for Guyana, and it was propelling beautifully. The people came in, and there was a lot of things that they found there that they were going to grab onto, they were going to hold on to because they could think of nothing better. But the sad part is that projects they are modifying, and instead of bringing some more spark to it and a little bit hype to it, it is being there downgrade to what was there in the plan before. And I think Ganesh could join in here because I know he spoke at length about it today also.
Thanks, Shara. Thanks, Director. The fact of the matter remains that when the coalition went to office in 2015, there was a great focus on infrastructure. And this is because we believe a sound infrastructure will attract investors, will attract people to come to Guyana and do business because they know that their business will be secure and safe. Farm infrastructure, and that is you see billions of dollars were spent on sea defense work. Riprap work was done throughout the coastline of Guyana, and that is because we wanted to not only protect our citizens from high tides, but also we want to ensure that we have a sound infrastructure where people can feel confident establishing themselves on the coastline. We built reinforced concrete bridges, not wooden structure, not timber structure that you will have to revisit a year or two from now. We built reinforced concrete structure because we believe that when you are finished with an area and you move to another area, you should not have to go and revisit that area within a year or two time. When you look at that road that you're seeing there, that looks like a structural disaster. It looks like a structural disaster. And that is because these people in office, they altered the project, which was conceptualized by the coalition to have a 4-lane highway from Diamond to Ogle. That is what they did. They altered it to now have 2 lanes, and it is right from Diamond to 𝗂𝗏. And they have concised it to the extent where the monies that they will spend on it is significantly low. And the PPP has a track record of building roads, bridges, and the like in a weak manner. Very, very weak. The integrity of the project, the integrity of the work, the structural strength is questionable. And we have to understand that that is their track record. Majority of the schemes that these people built, Parfait, Harmony, Tushin, Iflot, Zealot, you check it out. When you traverse those areas, the infrastructure is extremely poor. Extremely poor. And instead of Ejil focusing on strengthening the Ministry of Public Works, getting value for money, he is out there fighting about a gift or gifts. When he himself received a gift when he took up the ministry's position. But you see, as I said on a program in Region 2, 𝗪𝗏 is giving out street lights to NDCs. The street lights are 28 street lights for NDC. The 28 street lights, they cost $1 million Guyana dollars. That is roughly $35,000+ per street light. The street light is 80 watts in terms of brightness, and it cannot go higher than 15 feet on a electric pole. So the lights are so dull that it is as dull as 𝗪𝗏. And I will extend that to say that the lights are as dull as Ejil and the entire PPP, because they seem not to conceptualize and understand that if you're going to do a project, do a proper project. What can 80 watts of a light bulb do on a public road in big open space, when the light poles we know are roughly 15, 20, 30 feet apart? You put an 80-watt bulb in your own house, it is not sufficient to give you brightness. Your telephone light is practically brighter than that 80-watt bulb that they're putting up on these posts. And people can testify to this, because across the country, NDCs have received the 28 street lights, put it up not more than 15 feet high, and they are ashamed of it. A number of people have called me and said, Ganesh, a shame of the street light. No brightness at all. What is it put there for? Only God up above knows. But $70 million was expended on that project, and the lights, it seems as though they will fail anytime. And
So there
$70
you
million.
go. There you go. That's what it was put there for. 70
Exactly.
million.
And
I
I
was
said
just
to
going to
you,
raise a point of order, Ganesh. I was just going to raise a point of order that there is nobody or nothing as dull as 𝗪𝗵. Point of order.
a point taken, and your point is accepted. But it comes back to the point of genuinity and purpose. You see, we can sit here and we can chastise the PPP for their foolish behavior, for their ineptitude, and we can chastise them for their dullness. We can chastise them for their lack of vision. But it is not that they are dull, it is not that they lack vision, and it is not that they're inept. You know what it is? It is that they have their own motive. They have their own motive. They don't have people's interests at heart. So they went into office knowing fully well that they're going there for one purpose, and that is to get rich and richer. That is what they're there for. And in the interest of getting rich and richer, they will do things that will cause us to call them numbskulls. They will do things for us to say that they're inept. They will do things for us to say that they are visionless.
Yeah,
that is what they're doing. If they are genuine,
I think. I was going to say one of the things that brings that to the fore is the treatment of the shade house woman on the East Coast. Woman said that after AFC gave her a piece of land to earn a living, she built a shade house. She said also that she voted for the PPP several times, several elections. The whole family in this election vote PPP. And as soon as they come into office, 𝗪𝗵 run share off the piece of land. That is exactly what you're saying. They have no concern for people.
Not only that, there are a number of SIP workers, the CIIP, Community Improvement something project, the CIIP workers at the NDCs. A number of persons who voted for the PPP called me. They are apparently team leaders of the SIP workers. Called me and said that the contracts are being renewed, that all the contracts for SIP workers are being renewed. But you see, Sherrod, a lot are saying to us that we were too good and kind, and because of our practice in good governance and our practice in integrity and decency, why we're out of office. And we should have been like the PPP, taking out moles from the industry. We should be ensuring that we don't have them close to us. We can understand. I want to tell something, Mr. Duncan. Good governance is about inclusion. Good governance is about anybody wins for us. Good governance is about I think it's Sherrod.
I turned my mic off trying to help that. I don't know what is happening, but I did say we're trying to work on whatever this audio challenge that we're having currently.
But I was making the point who are here, that good governance is about and not using the not because Sherrod, I am PNC that or if somebody else and they support PPP, Guyana, we are a land to take care all of it. And we must AP on strong.
Ganesh, please do us a favor. I would love if you can come out of the stream and sign in back, and let's see if that might help us. That's the other challenge that we're having. Twitter, go right ahead.
It was definitely on his part. Are you getting the same feedback? I'm just clarifying.
No, I am not. Let me see. I'm bringing Ganesh back in. Ganesh, you are the troublemaker.
So you're hearing me better now?
Yes, we're hearing you better now.
Yes, I was making the point that good governance is about inclusivity. Good governance is about taking care of our citizens. And regardless of whether I am a PNC or you're a AFC and somebody else is a PPP, we should not bar that person from enjoying the good life. We should not bar that person from practicing what is democratically theirs to practice and what is enshrined in our constitution. The coalition will remain a party or an alliance or a togetherness in terms of our strength to promote and practice good governance. We believe that is a bedrock of this coalition. Regardless of whether you're PPP, regardless of whether you're PNC or AFC, you must enjoy a piece of the pie. You must be able to live comfortably. You must be able to enjoy the health care of this country. You must be able to enjoy the social services of this country. You must be able to feel secure and safe. And that is why we were focused on ensuring that we build on the institutions that are existing in our country. We have the police station, which we enhanced. We have schools, which we enhanced. We have sea defense work, which we enhanced. We have the social services sector, which we enhanced, because we believe that with a strong infrastructure and a strong institution, the services that will be rendered to the people of this country will significantly improve and better their lives. The aim of any government must be to better the people's lives, the people that they're supposed to serve. You know, it was Maxwell who said, a good leader is a great servant. So we must not come and pamposet ourselves as any person above the law, or as though we are big and so gigantic that we can say as we please and do as we please. We must remember that a good servant is a good leader is a great servant, and we must be able to serve the people if that is what we want to do. And service to the people require us to be at the level of the grassroots, where we can listen to their issues and rectify it. Not for us to target a specific racial group of our country, not for us to transfer people willy-nilly, not for us to selectively choose who we're going to give the $25,000, not for us to selectively choose where we're going to put the dim lights that you're putting up across this country, not for us to believe as though we can sit on our high horses and dictate what must happen and what must not happen. We must respect the tiers of government. We must respect local democracy. We must allow the Region 8 Council to be sworn in. We must allow the Region 8 people to choose their leaders and work with their leaders. We must respect the fact that Region 4 was won by the coalition, Region 10 and Region 7. And if I can go as far as say Region 8 was won by the coalition. And if you're going to put together a budget called Budget 2021 and respect the views of the elected people there, include their projects. Don't act in a dictatorial manner. Don't behave as though you're God on mankind, because a time will come when your rope will cut and you will have to realize that even though you may be a government minister now, you will return back to your stage as a citizen and you will want help. You will want help, your families will want help, and they will have to get the help because they are Guyanese. I am saying to this government, stop behaving as though you are large and in charge, and recognize that you have to be servants of the people. And if you can't do that, then get out. Get out from squatting there.
Dorita and Ganesh, why is this fraudulent, wicked, evil, illegal PP government fighting former Minister David Patterson? Just this morning, he went to give some information at SOCU. Next thing you know, he is charged for fraud, for trying to defraud, according to the attempting to defraud the Demerara Harbor Bridge of $167 million. They're saying that he did not use this money towards a what do you call it, a consultancy or study pertaining to the Demerara Harbor Bridge. This matter went before Justice Claudette Singh when she was a legal advisor to the police force, and she had said in her advice that she found no wrongdoing here and that cabinet had awarded this money for the contract, and the contract was had. Why this fight now?
But you know what is strange? What's so strange about that, Sherrod, is that well, number one, like you just pointed out, this matter was already dealt with. Mr. 𝗪𝗧 right now is trying to wake the dead, so to speak. But what is quite strange about it all is that there's a reason why we don't have ministers coming before the Public Accounts Committee, because ministers are the policymakers. They are not the stewards of the financial records. They are not the ones responsible for signing off on contracts and checks and so forth. The finances are dealt with by the permanent secretaries. And I can tell you that we have had, I believe we spoke about the Ganesh and I before from our last PSC meeting, in which the PS would have come before the PAC and says basically that he can't remember this and he can't remember that. Very, very crazy. And now today we have Mr. Patterson being called into Suku. And what I learned over time is that the PPP, they're a very sensational bunch of persons. They gravitate to the fact that Guyanese, well, as Guyanese, we kind of buy into sensationalism a whole lot. So you put something out there and people run with it and get hyped about it for a little bit. And then a few days pass and on to the next thing that is more sensational. And the PPP have perfected the art of producing sensational news. And this is one such case in which they find something and they're going to hold on to it and they're going to squeeze every bit of political juice that they can squeeze out of it. And Mr. 𝗪𝗧 know full well that he can't get nothing out of it. He knows that he can't win this. He knows that the only thing that he can get is a whole lot of hype coming from the public, from his supporters, mind you. He's not gaining any new bit of support by putting out sensational news into the public. He is just hyping up his already hyped up base, and that is all that is coming out of this.
Yeah, and the man calls himself a bishop.
Well, I was going to say,
Lord.
Run to the Christian faith.
I was going to say that I'm not sure who is 𝗪𝗪. I really am not sure who's 𝗪𝗪's. I think he's an embarrassment to Christianity. He's an embarrassment to the People's Progressive Party, and he's an embarrassment to all Guyanese. And if he really and truly wants us to believe that he is a true Christian, and he wants us to believe that he's trying to live the life of a Christian, then he will start reading the Bible properly and practice what it is said in the Bible, and that is to love thy neighbor as you love thyself. That man is bitter and he has a lot of hatred in him. And I know that, I think there was a famous saying that many will say, Lord, Lord, Lord. And
Yeah.
when they are called upon, the Lord will say, I simply did not know you.
Yeah.
And he is a
I agree.
typical example of that. That
Depart
man
from
is,
me.
you can sense that man has a lot of problems on him. He has a lot of problem in him, and he's surrounded by a lot of problem. And I think that he should step aside and allow his junior minister to show him some level of decency in terms of leading. But I think that the two of them are fighting amongst themselves, because I see even the junior minister is trying to compete with 𝗪𝗪's stupidity. I have never seen a man that has so much wickedness in him, in terms of the weight of, to me, Joretta, when I sit in PAC, I feel the demon is there. Honestly, I feel the demon is there. You don't feel that lightness, you don't feel that lightness or that happiness when you look at a face like that. He simply displays an attitude of demonic behavior, and he really needs to go and get some prayer on himself.
Well, Ganesh, incidentally, on the Christian calendar, this is the period of fasting and prayer, the 21 days during January, just into February. So it is the good bishop should pull himself away a little bit from public life and seek the face and the will of God. Because as you said, many
He
shall
is
say, Lord,
talking.
Lord.
He is talking about removing David Patterson as the Public Accounts Committee chairman.
Just
But
for that.
he was very disrespectful as a bishop, as he claimed to be, disrespectful to the Speaker of the National Assembly. He was the disrespect to the National Assembly. He brought disrepute into the National Assembly. You have the person who was the previous Public Accounts Committee chairman, no less a person than the president himself now, the illegal, illegitimate president now. He had 19 fraud charges to his name, and he was sitting as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. I don't understand what is his logic. Who does he want to put there? He wants to go and sit there as the chairman?
Yes, yes.
Does he
Yes.
want to go and sit there? Or he wants to put Gail Teixeira there? Gail Teixeira had $1 million her phone allowance per month. He wants her to go and sit there? These people are simply trying to be authoritative, dictatorial, and wicked in their dealings. The Guyanese people are seeing them for what they are, and I am sure the Guyanese people will send them home as they did before, and they will continue to send them home because it is like old wine in new bottle, or as you would put it, Sharon, old used tires.
Yeah.
But
That's the
there is
policy here. Bring back old tires.
reason that they are trying to bring up all of these things. It's not like Mr. Ejah believes that he's going to be able to remove and put who he wants as a chair of the PSC. He knows that the opposition selects the chair of the PSC. He knows that's how it is. He knows that the PPP cannot select the chair of the PPP. But what they're trying to do, and they try to do it at every single meeting of the PSC, they try to delay us from going through the accounts at all costs. They try to delay the process because they do not want us to finalize these years that they have left outstanding while the former PSC chair, Ms. Ali, was there. They don't want us to finalize door and move on to the real big matters that we have facing us right now, like the COVID-19 cash grant that we're looking at. They don't want us to get to that stage so that we can scrutinize those spendings. So they are going to try everything in their power to keep us dragged back and keep these years just accumulating and not moving forward. That is what they are trying to do. And I spoke just about how they try to make everything sensational. We sit at the PAC meeting and we hear so many questions coming from the PPP and to the PS, and how was this done? And this is illegal and this should not be done. And then when you go back to the AG's report from the PPP's time, what the PSs was doing during the tenure of 2016 that we are scrutinizing right now is a vast improvement to what was done during the tenure of the PPP. And I can further go on my citing because I'm looking at it on my phone right now, if you would allow me, Cheryl. The Guyana Times, January the 13th, 2020, a couple of days ago, the headline, a report calls out government for accepting gifts without documenting. And their very first paragraph, they said the Audit Office of Guyana has stumbled upon a number of cases during 2018 where government ministries and agencies would have collected millions of dollars worth of gifts from various sources, but then failed to properly account for them. Now, when somebody read this, Sherrod, if you don't know the likes of the PPP and the Guyana Times, which is the reporting agency for the PPP, they do absolutely nothing else but report for the PPP.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't know that, you would believe that, oh my God, like why was this happening then? But then if you go back, I believe you were speaking about it earlier. If you go back to the records of the very same AG's report throughout the years, you will see that in 2010, they had, the AG said the continued lack of reporting of accounts for all gifts to ministries, and he was speaking about $14.5 billion. Then he moved to 2012, he was speaking about $4.2 billion on account. They're not recording these gifts.
Yeah.
Then he moved to 2011, 2.9 billion. I could go on and on and on. But Guyanese people, I find that we are so quick to forget because over time persons have been making news so sensational. So you're always on to the next most sensational matter that we quickly forget what occurred just recently. And I can tell you, when we're looking at transparency, the International Transparency Index and Corruption Index internationally, it would have said Guyana had moved significantly and made significant strides under the coalition in fixing all the ills that we went into government and find. And I found it quite ironic that I heard 𝗪𝗪 speaking about minister's code of conduct, and I can tell you this, Sheriff. Under the PPP, such a document did not exist. There was no code of conduct for ministers under the PPP. Their code of conduct is whatever they felt it should have been, and that is the blatant truth of it. There is no recording of anything of gifts under the PPP ever. What is that, recording a gift? We have several instances in which ministers were cited for spending exorbitant amount of funds when it comes to their medical bills and going to cabinets and having those things approved. We have the dental works that Ms. 𝗁𝗏 would have done. And it had so many other things. And how dare, and I can say this, how dare 𝗪𝗪 come and speak about receiving gifts when 𝗪𝗪 is a part of an administration that was cited for as being the most corrupt administration in Guyana ever. How dare 𝗪𝗪 speak about anything? He does not have the moral authority to speak on these matters.
Folks, we unfortunately have gone past our program time. Closing words, Ganesh. I'll give 𝗁𝗏 the final words for this evening.
Demons come in different form. Demons come in different form, and 𝗁𝗏 was just speaking about a demon. That's my closing word.
𝗁𝗏?
Ganesh threw me off there.
That's a blessing. Myself there.
Ganesh threw me off a little bit. Yeah, but putting all joke and fun aside, we're talking about someone that is given the power to preside over a ministry like the Ministry of Public Infrastructure. We're talking about someone that is out there as a public figure, a representative for this country, and it is no laughing matter for us to be here calling out the numerous inconsistencies, the numerous corruption, the racist way in the racism that is being acted upon every single day in this country. It is no joke that the PPP have gone into office and have been acting in the most dictatorial way ever. And it is even sadder when I just want to wrap up by saying that Mr. 𝗏𝗵 allowed himself to be sucked into all of that madness and is so barefaced about it right about now. So we have a very long way to go as a country, but I can say that I have a lot of faith in Guyanese that we will be able to move forward as a people and to get to where we want to be. We have to have we have to be brave, we have to be courageous, we have to want the change, and we have to be the change. So with that, Sherrod, I'll say good night.
With those few words. Folks, it's the weekend. We're going to see you back on Monday. And I know Ganesh clapping because I can't drag him on. I can't invite him on over the weekend. Folks, we want you to continue the social distance, wear your mask, sanitize. You should not be meeting in groups larger than 10, even social distancing. I'm tired talking to y'all. Y'all is hard, you know, Guyanese. Stop it. A very good evening to all. Folks, have a great evening. A good evening to all, except 𝗪𝗏 𝗏𝗏. Sorry, Ganesh, sorry for putting him by your side. Don't box his head. I'm begging you. Don't tap him there. A good evening to all, except 𝗪𝗏 𝗏𝗏. Except folks at the Guyana Forestry Commission, we are looking out for you guys, looking out for your best interest, right? And so we are going to continue to monitor the monitor of the forest, Mr. 𝗪𝗏 𝗏𝗏 of the Guyana Forestry Commission. A good night to all, except Mr. 𝗪𝗏 𝗏𝗏. Ganesh, 𝗁𝗏, thanks for joining. See you guys next week.
Good night. Thank you for having me.
Bye, everyone.